All right, we're with I would say a familiar voice for the Fresno airwaves out here. Q Myers joining me now. He's with the Raiders, of course, and Q. Good. Is it good to be back on ESPN Radio, Fresno airwaves here?
Yeah, man, I love Fresno.
Yeah.
I really do, man. There's certain places that I love. One we're in right now, the Bay Area. I love the Bay Area, born and bred and raised. And I always say the 559, I was raised in the Bay, but I learned a lot. Life lifed me in the 559, right? My son went to Roosevelt High, so obviously going to always have ties there. But the 559, man, was great for me. And just kind of being around those streets and doing music radio out there and meeting so many people and knowing a lot of people to this day and still getting love in Fresno, man. That's awesome, man. And I was always told when I got to Fresno, they said, a lot of people said, well, you can only do so much here. You can't, nothing big is going to come out of Fresno. And I was like, why not? What are you talking about? Fresno's got so much talent. I think a lot of people sleep on Fresno. They'll drive through past the 99 and they'll see Fresno and all 12 exits that they have off the 99, which I think is extreme. Yeah. I'm like, man, there's 12 exits. What are you talking about? But it's so funny, man. Like people, I just stopped in Fresno for a quick minute, but I was like, man, Fresno got it going on, man. I love Fresno. So, yeah, man, it's a long-winded way of saying I'm glad to be back on the airways.
Of course. You're doing great things with the Raiders, of course, and you got your whole program there. And, you've been following the Raiders for a little bit now, of course. Yeah. And how's that been on the Raider beat? I
mean, it's always an adventure. There's never a dull moment when it comes to the Raiders. Unfortunately, they haven't found a way to get on the winning track.
Yeah.
And so, being in Las Vegas and being there firsthand and being at the facility and checking out, how this thing is trying to be put together has been, frustrating for Raider fans. It's been, annoying and anger is felt. But at the same time, once again, they have another chance, right? They have another opportunity. They got the number 1 overall pick. They haven't had that since 2007. They have, a new head coach coming in, and we're all going to see what he can do on Sunday and Super Bowl Sunday.
Right.
And Clint Kubiak, we'll see what his offense looks like for Seattle, and so that's going to give you a little bit of a glimpse. A guy like Ashton Genty should be excited about, that kind of offense. Brock Bowers should be excited about that offense. There's a lot to like about the potential, but we all know what potential is until they actually maximize it. So they got a lot of work to do, but, I mean, covering the Raiders as just a kid that grew up as a Raider fan, going to the Coliseum and hustling tickets at BART to try to get into the Coliseum and, you know what I mean? Like, kidding me? This is what I do for a living. That's why, I mean, I can never complain about a day at work because it's not really work.
No, of course not, especially when you fan first in that side of things. And the Raiders, they're so ingrained in this area, right? You still see it from time to time. I was seeing Baron Davis play Madden as the Raiders. When you're Bay Area through and through, but, the memories, right? The Coliseum.
Yeah.
What comes to mind when you think back to those days? You got a game in mind you think about that you've been there?
Man, there's so many great games. The Coliseum, we always say that, it was a dump, but it was our dump, right? And it's like you can have an ugly kid, but you can't tell me my kid's ugly. I can tell you, that sure is an ugly baby, but you can't tell me that. So the Coliseum wasn't anything to be all, super happy about and fired up, but it was just that it was ours, and you knew that nobody was walking in the Coliseum that wasn't a Raider fan repping their colors, right? And if they did, well, good luck to them, right? And most of the time you knew who the other fans were because they just didn't have a jersey on, or they just were dressed like a normal dude, and you're like, oh, yeah, that's not a Raider fan. But at least they understood and they respected the grounds. In Vegas, as much as I love Allegiant Stadium, you just don't have that. You don't have that kind of, home field advantage, especially when you're not a winning organization. So if you're a Niner fan, hey, I'll go to the game. I want to go to Vegas for 3 days. If you're a Chiefs fan, I'll go to the game. I want to go to Vegas for 3 days. Browns, like the Browns fans have, they do chartered buses and chartered planes to Vegas, and so do the Bears fans. It's like there's no one that looks at the Allegiant Stadium in Vegas and says, yeah, man, that's intimidating to go there. Not that I'm trying to talk about violence or anything, but at the same time, it's like you want to have that home field advantage. So they need to get back to winning ways.
Right.
Hopefully Clint Kubiak can help them do that. And more importantly, they need to have someone to have hope around. And if they draft Fernando Mendoza, like many of us believe that they're going to do, could you imagine how many Mendoza jerseys you're going to see in Allegiant Stadium? Right, with the Raiders,
the Raider
fan base. You tell me that Mendoza
Hispanic heritage around it.
Thank you. You tell me that fan base ain't gonna those jerseys ain't gonna sell off the shelves quickly, man.
Oh
come
my
on.
God. More popular jersey in the Central Valley. Would
Exactly.
it be a Mendoza jersey or a Carr jersey?
Exactly.
It's going to be a battle between those two.
Facts.
Back in 16, man, I think about that season a lot, especially with
incredible.
the Fresno State side of things. And
Yep.
that's the last real – you feel like the black hole was the black hole really that year too. Like, what do you think about that season and the what could have been and
man, what
all that?
Could have been, should have been. I honestly believe, and this is not just being a Raider fan, I believe that they're going to the Super Bowl that year. Every bounce that they had, every bounce that they needed went their way. Everything that they had going, everything worked. Starting the season. If you remember, the very first game was in New Orleans, right? And they were losing that game. And then all of a sudden, Jalen Richard, he gets in the game, his very first carry of his career. He takes it to the house, and all of a sudden they're back in the game. And then Jack Del Rio goes for 2. Everyone's like, what are you doing? Kick the extra point. Just tie the game. He goes for 2. Boom, Michael Crabtree. We like to call him Michael Crabtree. Makes the, the catch. Boom, 2-point conversion. They win the game against the Saints on the road. That was the start of a season that was magical. And then, unfortunately, it ended on Christmas Eve at the Coliseum. I was there. Little Q was there. Littler Q was there. Mama Q was there. We were all there.
Yeah.
And they win the game against the Colts, but Derek Carr breaks his ankle. And that was over. And as soon as he broke his ankle, it's like silence. And I remember when the game was over, me and my older son, we understood the situation. Little Q, who went to Roosevelt, he didn't quite understand. So he's like, Dad, why is everyone so quiet? We just won. My son said, because Derek Carr is done for the season. It's over. He ain't got no quarterback. This sucks. He was so mad. I was like, yeah, what he said. Just go ahead and repeat what he just said. And that's what it was. And unfortunately, that was their season. And it just feels like, damn, man, that's how that ended. I really do. I'm not saying they would have won the Super Bowl, but I fully believe that they would have been in the Super Bowl.
There was a little aura of the magic.
They had the magic. It's just sometimes it's your season, right? You get all the bounces go your way, the turnovers that you need happens, everything that you want to go in your direction does, and it did for them that year. And they've only been to the playoffs one more time since then.
Let me tell you. So I've been to Allegiant once,
okay,
and it is maybe the most memorable game you could think of at Allegiant
Oh,
Stadium.
I already know which one it is. You ain't got to tell me. It was the Patriot game.
when they're throwing the little
Jacoby Myers throws the ball back. Chandler Jones picks it off, but they called it a fumble recovery, so you figured that out. Takes it to the house, wins the game. Jacoby Myers becomes a Raider. Chandler Jones goes AWOL, and
everyone's sitting. I'm sitting in the upper deck with my father, and at that moment I knew, we both share the worst sports memory of our lives now. That was it.
So you're a Patriot fan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right. Hey, fair enough.
So,
hey, congratulations on being in the Super Bowl again. Boy, you guys had to suffer a long time.
I'm trying to temper my expectations.
Right now, Raider fans are like, this guy sucks.
I feel like this is nice, though. They're the underdogs. I'm like, there's no expectation to win. You don't got the GOAT right now.
How stupid is that? How stupid does that even sound? Right? The Patriots back in the Super Bowl. They had a couple down years.
It's the whole thing. Everyone's rooting against the Chiefs.
What's happening?
Everyone's rooting against the Chiefs, and they're like, all right, we don't got the Chiefs. Well, guess who's in the back? You just let the Patriots right back in.
It's wild, man. But big ups to them. Big ups to Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, right? I mean, to be able to come into the organization, they spend a lot of good money.
Right.
They got it right. Drake May, second year. He's in the MVP conversation. So, look, I mean, all that makes sense, and that's the hats off to the organization. And so you go a little further, and you talk about the Raiders. Use that as an example.
Yeah.
Right? Everyone says, well, the Patriots or the Raiders aren't ready to draft their franchise quarterback. Were the Patriots ready when they drafted Drake May?
No.
Probably not. They did.
Yeah, I saw them in San Francisco last year. I'm like, that was a definitely.
But they got their guy. And then this year they made a lot of right decisions. They spent a lot of money. They got the offensive line right, got the weapons, got some defensive guys, brought in a really good head coach in Vrabel, really good OC in Josh McDaniels, and now they're playing on Sunday.
Right. It doesn't feel much different from the roster last year to this year. It was a couple key cogs that came in, but honestly, the structure, everything like that, and of course Mendoza mania. Like you watch the Indiana run, you watch it closely.
I sure did.
This guy, he's got such an interesting character to him, right?
Yeah, he's a quirky dude.
I don't know what to make, what that's going to translate in the NFL or anything like that. But what do you think in terms of the personality?
He's going to be him. And that's all I ever ask anyone to be. Authentically be you, right? Don't be anyone. Don't try to be Derek Carr because he's the last guy that was the franchise quarterback. Don't try to be, Tom Brady because that was the guy you grew up, idolizing. Don't be someone else, man. Just be who you are, right? Be Fernando Mendoza. Be the best version of yourself. And I do believe that's what he's going to do. And that's what he shows you. In his pressers, that he's not trying to, be the cool kid. He's, hey, man, I'm, whatever. It's funny. I just laugh when I hear his press conferences. I'm like, you know what? It's just Fernando being Fernando. And I can't wait, man. I embrace it. I cannot wait till he gets to Vegas if, in fact, they draft him number 1 overall and be at all those press conferences and talk to him. He's supposed to be here sometime this week. And I'll be searching for him as well, trying to get him.
Of course, I love when he's in the post game and he's staring right down the barrel of the camera. He's
had some media training. He's had some media training.
He's talking to the world, man. He knows what he's doing there. It tells you that.
Yeah, he does.
It's great. The Raiders, of course, where they're going to be, like you said, the turnaround could be quick in terms of it. And if I'm a Raider fan watching this Super Bowl, what am I thinking about in terms of, you mentioned it earlier at the top, but like what specific things am I thinking about when I'm watching this Seahawks version of this team? And
I'm watching the offense.
Yeah.
I'm watching the offense because I want to visualize what the offense, if it's done right, could look like for the Raiders. If I'm looking at the Seahawks offense, I'm looking at Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Yeah.
I'm looking at their running game. I'm looking at the way they use their tight ends and thinking, okay, Brock Bowers, Ashton Chenti, Michael Mayer. Rashid Shaheed. He's a free agent. I'm looking at him.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, Clint, bring him with you to Vegas.
Yeah.
Right? I'm looking at all the way that they do things offensively and say they can do this if you put the offensive line in place. Oh, look at the offensive line, right? They go out there and they bring in some, first-round offensive linemen. All of a sudden, now that the offensive line is shored up, right? And so if you put all the right pieces in place, you can have a dynamic offense. Like you said, with the Patriots, the roster doesn't look that much different than it did before. But now they're fine-tuned, they're tweaked, they're put in the position to succeed, and that's what I'm hoping that Clint Kubiak and Fernando Mendoza, as a pair, can do for the Raiders moving forward. But yeah, if I'm watching Super Bowl 60, that's exactly what I'm looking at. That's exactly what it is.
Speaking of Super Bowl 60, just real quick, like thoughts on I think about these two teams. There's a hot quarterback, hot offense on one side with the Seahawks, and I think there's a hot defense on the other side with the Patriots. I don't think people are talking about how incredible the Patriots defense has been this postseason. And yeah, you can talk about the quarterbacks and whatever thing. You got to go line up and play, and they made it happen in terms of that. And so, what gives, right, between those two units? I think that's the side of the ball everybody's going to be paying attention to.
Who can protect the ball?
Right.
Who's going to protect the ball? Because, look, Seattle's defense is phenomenal. I think Seattle's a better team. I'll throw that out there. But the Patriots' defense is really good. They can create turnovers, right, and they'll put you in a bad position. They can get to the quarterback, right? I mean, their defensive tackles are really good, right? It's going to be hard to run on them, and I know that the Seahawks are going to want to run the ball. That's how you get that Clint Kubiak offense really cooking, is by way of the run game. I just think a guy just walked by and looked like Jesus. He's got a Jesus robe on. That's awesome. There you go. Hey, you never know what you
never know what
you
see. Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, so you look at both these teams' defenses. Who can protect the ball the best? You have Drake May, second-year quarterback, and you have Sam Darnold, who everyone wrote off. I wrote him off. Even last year, I was like, yeah, but and didn't think he was going to be that guy, and here he is in Super Bowl. So yeah, man, I think that there's a lot of compare and contrast. Some people are saying it's going to be a blowout. Right. I don't think it's going to be a blowout either way. I think it's going to be a close game down to the wire, which is all we can ask for. I do ultimately think Seattle wins, but Sam Darnold also led the league in turnovers.
That's what I was looking at. And who takes advantage more over turnovers than
exactly
right?
New England Patriots. So that's why the Seahawks have to protect the ball. If they're going to win, they have to protect the ball because the Patriots will take it away.
All right, Q, you got your Raider podcast, right? Your Raider show.
Yep, Locked On Raiders podcast every single day. I knock that out. Raider Nation Radio 920 Monday through Friday, 2 to 5 p.m. Knock that out. ESPN Radio. I do that. Game night, 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So all the fine folks. I'm not sure what time you guys locally end on.
I think it's what's that for Amber and Ian? Amber and Ian.
That's me. That's me. Yeah. So you guys hear Amber and Ian?
Yeah.
Okay. If you hear Amber and Ian, you hear me. Then good.
Yeah, we got 6 to 7. I think Amber and Ian come after me, and then I think it's 7 to 10 Pacific.
Yep. That's me.
Yeah.
There you go. So yeah, I mean the 559 man. You can chime in with your boy every night, man. Just. I ain't gone nowhere.
From time to time, though, we got the Lakers to play. So,
every once in a while, you got to do what you got to do.
Anyways, how about that trade deadline?
Yeah, there you go.
It's been a little wild. Anyways, we're at a football show. Let's talk about it. All right, Q, appreciate it as always swinging by. And, of course, we'll see you around the rest of this week here, man.
Absolutely, man. Have a great time. 559. I love you.
Absolutely.